Trump joins us. Donald, you just heard what Bill Maher had to say about, let me talk about two topics. One is the issue of exceptionalism and the United States. Tell me your response to him.
Well, I have a lot of responses. Exceptionalism can be wonderful. I wish we were exceptional. We'd like to be exceptional. I think we can be exceptional again, and I expect that if Mitt Romney becomes president. I think we really should be an exceptional country, and we should be the country. When he mentions the fact that we're a stupid country, I assume he's talking about how Obama is running it, because we have become a country that is not very well respected and in many ways is stupid. When you look at what's happening with OPEC, when you look at what's happening with China, the way they're just stripping our money from us like we're babies, we are really becoming a stupid country. I know that's not the way he meant it, but I guess I would take it differently. That's the way Obama is running the country.
You know, I know a lot of people are upset by Bill Maher saying this, and, you know, I'm a little bit sort of curious by that. I mean, he's a stand-up comic. No one thinks that he's making some sort of profound announcement about the direction of foreign policy. If he were to look at the United States in terms of exceptionalism, I know that you take issue with how the Obama administration is running the country. But in general, the United States has been providing aid in so many different sectors across every single continent in the world. We do agriculture, economic, education, women's rights, human trafficking, water and sanitation, earthquakes, tsunami help, any crisis. I mean, we do take the lead in so many things, so that while, you know, there's that some are saying that we're not as exceptional as we have been before, we are nonetheless quite exceptional as a country.
Well, and it's also aid that this country can't afford. We're giving aid to others that we really can't afford. You look at us and we're up to $16 trillion in debt. We're borrowing from the Chinese and others, and it's just aid that we should probably, in many cases, not give. And we give aid to some people that can't stand us, and they go around and they take advantage of us, stupidly for us, but they take advantage of this country. But it's, you know, again, it's aid that in many cases and in much we can't afford.
Well, but that's a slightly different issue, is how we sort of exercise our exceptionalism. That, you know, there's a great debate whether we should be giving a particular amount to a particular country for something. But nonetheless, is that, you know, at the core of this is the United States does remain sort of exceptional in the sense that, you know, we have a willingness to try to make the world better, and we go. I mean, and sometimes even to our personal detriment.
Well, I think that's great, and in the past it was great when we were a rich country. We're not a rich country anymore. I mean, a lot of bad politicians have seen to it that we're not rich, and when you're not rich, when you don't have money, when you have to go out and borrow the money, we can't afford to be doing what we're doing. We're doing so many different things. We're giving money to countries that laugh at us behind our back and even laugh at us to our face. So, you know, there are many, many things that we could be doing much differently. The potential of our country is so enormous, but we are doing things that are just being laughed at and scoffed at.
You talk about laughing and more of the controversy about Bill Maher. And let me repeat, he is a stand-up comic. He does satire. His whole thing is comedy. But one of the things he says is he refers to Mormonism, the religion of the Republican nominee, as being stupid, and that is just old-fashioned bigotry. You know, there's your thoughts. I mean, at least, you know, he's laughing at it, and he's got the crowd laughing with him. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's tough stuff. I mean, when you say that, he's a comic, but that's really not funny. And frankly, it's amazing. And if the other side referred to somebody else's religion, as an example, if some nice conservative Republican said something about another religion, I won't even say which one, but let's say another religion, there would be hell to pay. It would be a front page of every newspaper tomorrow. And here's something that is hardly being covered, although you're covering it, but it's hardly being covered.
But it's interesting, it's when the crowd laughs, it's sort of hard to, you know, people oftentimes don't realize they're being bigots if they get people, you know, laughing with them, even other bigots, I guess.
Well, I know Bill Maher, and he's doing his thing, and he's having a good time doing it, and he's doing well with it, I guess. But it's a tough statement. And frankly, if somebody else made that statement, and certainly if a conservative Republican made a like statement about somebody else's religion, they'd be hell to pay. It would be all over the place. It would be the end of that person's career as you know it.
All right, let me turn to another subject. Last week, the president said, and everyone's been stomping all over him about this, he says, in part, he says the private sector is doing fine. I'm curious what you think the president is thinking today about what he said.
Well, he's getting hit very hard in that statement because people, even his own people and his own supporters, are saying, "What are you doing? What are you saying?" They're calling it a big gaffe, a major gaffe. I've heard some people saying it's earth-shattering. I don't think it is earth-shattering, but it was certainly a mistake that he made in saying it because it's not doing well. We're at 8.2, but the 8.2 unemployment is not a real number. The real number is 15 or 16%. Some people will say it's 21%, but the real number, they rig it up so that you have the best of all worlds. You're looking for a job, you stop looking for the job, and they take you out of the stats. And it just doesn't work that way. So the real number is 15 or 16%, could be 21%. That's not doing fine. And he's taken a lot of heat for that. Frankly, I listened to it, and when I heard it, I was surprised. I was surprised by the statement, but his own groups really picked it up, and they didn't like it. He's taken a lot of heat.
Is it, though, is it a gaffe, or is it something that he intended to say, something that his, economic philosophy and how he views the economy and who he sees as sort of winning and losing? I mean, is it part of his economic ideology, or is it something that it was just simply a misstatement and he regrets today and he just needs to clear it up?
Well, I was watching as he made it, and frankly, I think it was a gaffe because his body language is very confused and very confusing after he made the statement. I don't think he felt good about the statement after he made it, and he would have liked to have taken it back. So I think it was a gaffe, absolutely.
All right, let me tell you, tweeting today, very busy tweeting today, and one of the things that you mentioned, you said, is another Barack Obama credit downgrade coming, in part. Do you fear a credit downgrade coming, or what did you mean by that?
Well, we're going up to 16 trillion very soon, and it's going to be a lot higher than that before he gets finished. And when you have in the 20s and 21, 22 trillion dollars, you're talking about a downgrade no matter how you cut it. Something has to be done. You have to cut the debt. You can't keep going like this. We're going to be a large-scale version of Spain or Greece or any one of a number of countries that are doing very, very badly. And let's see what happens in terms of recession. A recession may be a nice word. I just closed on Doral today. I bought Doral in Miami, which is a big deal, a big, fantastic piece of land in Miami with hotel units and golf courses. Is a very important thing, and I'm doing it. I put a lot of people to work. I'm very proud of it. I think it's going to be an amazing place, an amazing resort, but I want to see this country do well, so everything does well, and right now, frankly, the country isn't doing well, and the price I paid is actually reflective of that.
All right, one last question. One of your the tweets today, and because you've been extremely successful with The Apprentice, let me ask you this. It says, one of your tweets, CNN and MSNBC need big help in the ratings. I can tell them where they're going wrong. I'm curious. What is it that you think that they are doing where they're, quote, going wrong?
Well, they are really wrong, and they are really doing badly. And by the way, you folks are doing very well. I'm very proud of you, but they are really doing badly. And honestly, I wouldn't say it to you, and I certainly wouldn't say it publicly or so publicly, but if they called me, I would certainly give them ideas that would be a lot better than what they're doing right now. They're so far off. MSNBC is so far off, and CNN is so far off. And it's actually sad to see it. I mean, these are
well, we can't. But it can't just. I mean, like, it's not just fair for us to give them a swat right now. I'm curious. I mean, give them a tip.
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
You're not going to give them a tip after you give them a swat?
I think I know some of the people over there. I actually know the people at MSNBC in terms of the top people because I have The Apprentice on NBC, and I know them very well, and I have a lot of respect. And should they call me, I would certainly give them ideas that would be a lot better than what they have on now. I mean, frankly, all you have to do is watch MSNBC, and you can be a 7-year-old child and tell them what they're doing wrong. It's pretty pathetic.
Is the appetite for the news changing? Are people sick of politics? What do you think it is?
Well, I think their politics are wrong. I think their politics, in many cases, they're perceived as being very dishonest, and therefore people aren't trusting. They don't believe what they're hearing.
Dishonest, or you just don't agree with them?
No, it's not that. I think people aren't trusting them, and I think when they don't trust, they don't watch. You had the great Walter Cronkite. When you watched him, you trusted him. He was like your father, and I'll never forget. I mean, to me, he was the ultimate. Now, Edward R. Murrow was great, but I didn't see him. I used to watch Walter Cronkite. He was something special. You watched him, you trusted him, you believed in him, and therefore you watched. With, like, MSNBC, I don't think people believe it. I think people look at what they're saying. They don't at all have any confidence in them, and therefore they don't watch.
But isn't there room for sort of a diverse opinion on all sorts of issues, whether political? I mean, I guess not. I mean, the facts are the facts, whatever they are. But I mean, a lot of the political discussion. I mean, this doesn't enrich us to have sort of a diverse argument about or diverse debate.
Diversity is great. Diverse debate is absolutely fantastic. But you have to be believable on both sides, and in certain cases, they're not believable.
Donald, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Greta.